Okay, so in this video, we're going to look at how we can actually start to match our elements together. So try and match the render to the actual footage. What we're going to do is we're going to start renaming these layers. So the bottom one, the project final footage, just press enter on that. And we're going to call it plate, or you can call it footage, doesn't really matter. And then the top one, I'm going to call helicopter. Okay, so on your helicopter layer, so we're going to right click on that and we're going to go to effect, blur and sharpen, and we're going to select fast blur. So if we zoom in here a little bit, let's just go up to quite big, like 400%. You can see that the helicopter looks a little bit sharp in comparison to the ground and to everything around it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of a blur to the helicopter just to try and match my footage. So this fast blur, I'm going to give it a blurriness of 1, and you can see that it actually blurred the helicopter quite a bit. So let's just zoom out here back to fit up to 100%. Maybe let's do 100%. It's fitting a bit better to the scene, so you can play around with the blurriness. Sometimes you need to make it 0.5 or sometimes even like 2, but obviously 2 is a little bit much for the footage. So I'm going to leave it on 1 for now, but just try and play with that and try and match the sharpness of your footage and your render elements as good as possible. Okay, next up we're going to add some grain to our render. So once again, if we just zoom in here a little bit and we look at some of the ground area here and I play through this, you'll see you've got all these noise going on here. I'll just look at the nice shadow in the background. I didn't even notice that. It's looking pretty cool. So that's the shadow from the rotors that's actually on the floor. But anyway, if you look at this area here and you play through this, you can see there's some grain here, a lot of grain here in the dark areas, but even here in the lighter areas, you can see some noise. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and simulate that noise onto the helicopter, because if I play this back in this area, you'll see there will be no noise or very little noise on the helicopter itself. That's actually the shadow that's flickering there. So that's pretty cool. So you're going to right click on your helicopter layer, go to effects, and then we're going to go to noise and grain, and then we're going to select match grain. So match grain is quite a cool effect that you can actually tell After Effects to match the grain from one layer to another. So the first parameter that says viewing mode, I'm going to change that to final output. And then where it says noise source layer, we're going to select plate, because we want to actually sample the noise from that plate and then apply it to the helicopter. Okay, so as you can see, immediately we can see some noise on the helicopter, and if I play through this, you can see there's quite a bit of noise, and it looks like it's actually more noise than the footage. So obviously we need to try and match that. Okay, and the easiest way to match it is to expand this tweaking parameter here. And then you've got the intensity and the size and the softness and all of these parameters for your noise. So I'm going to change the size to around 0.5, and this again, just try and match it as closely as possible. And then the intensity, that's actually the amount of noise. So if I put this up to 5, you'll see that it will be crazy noisy. So I'm going to bring this down to 0.5 as well. So slight noise there on the helicopter. So I'm just going to play back a little section. Okay, so as you can see, we've got some nice noise here on the helicopter. It's looking pretty good. Probably matching it quite closely. Let's just zoom out here and see how that looks like. So obviously you can't see the noise that clearly on this small screen. But yeah, just try and match it as close as possible. And once you've got that down, we can get into some color grading. So I'll see you in the next video.